New week, new outfit, and same old question. Do you have a pattern for that? And we'll get to that in a moment, but first, let me show you what I'm wearing today. So the main hero here, of course, is this raspberry dress. And if you're like me and you thought that red is not your color, I can assure you, you just haven't found your shade of red. For many years, I thought I'm just not the kind of woman that can wear red. Turns out I just had to look into deeper, juicier shades like this raspberry or burgundies. And it's not only the color of the dress that is a huge surprise even to myself. It's also the fabric. This is 100% cotton jersey, kind of your typical t-shirt fabric. And I thought that with my body, with my hips, I could never wear jersey dresses because they would never look nice on me. They would cling to my body, highlight all my imperfections, and give me brand new, fresh insecurities. Turns out it was all about the cut. This is how I made jersey dress work for my body. One thing that I've been fighting for many years, I never liked the seam on the waistline, but here I realized this is the only way to make a jersey dress work for me. The main goal here was to make sure that the skirt is far away from my hips. And after trying and experimenting with different designs, I gave into this waistline seam because it's the only way to keep the top tightly fitted and the skirt skimming over my hips and not being too tight to them. This way, I created the dress that really works for me and is not too tight around my hips and doesn't give me any more insecurities. And I love this dress as it is. I don't think it needs anything else. It's a finished outfit. I love it. But just in case, if it gets a bit colder, I'm taking the striped top with me. This is cotton linen jersey. It's very soft. It's very cozy. It has kind of this lived-in look. I adore this fabric. It's absolutely perfect for summer. And I just love tying it around my waist because why not? I love an extra detail. And if during the day I decide it doesn't work for me anymore, I can always put it in the back. And now back to the question. Do I have a pattern for this? And the answer is yes, but probably not in the way you expect. If you're new here, hi, I'm Lisa Bennett, designer, educator, and co-founder of Arkdefo. And my biggest passion and mission in life is helping women feeling great in their bodies with the clothes that fit right. If you've ever been to a changing room wondering why the clothes just never fits you, trust me, I feel you because I've been in that same changing room crying my eyes out. If the dress fits me around my shoulders and my boobs, it will be way too tight around my hips. If it fits me around my hips, it will be way too loose around my waist and probably too big around my shoulders. For many years, I thought that I was the problem, that something was wrong with my body, that I had a weird body shape, until I finally broke out of this toxic cycle and realized that their body standards have nothing to do with my body. My body doesn't fit their standards because they're not based on me. And this is the reason why I would never sell you a ready pattern for this dress or anything else. And not because I'm gatekeeping, quite the opposite. If I were to sell you the pattern for this dress, I would base it on myself and I would grade it based on my original pattern, which means that for this dress to work for you, you would have to be the exact same measurements as I am. My exact height and my exact posture. Nothing bigger, nothing smaller. Or you would have to be proportionately bigger or smaller than my exact measurements. And the chances for both scenarios are pretty slim. And on top of that, you would have to use this exact fabric because I designed a pattern specifically for this fabric using its stretch factor. It is not possible for me or anyone else to design and sell you a pattern that will definitely work for you. The only way for you to create clothes that truly fits you is for you to take your measurements and turn them into your custom patterns. Once you get your custom blocks, everything else is really easy. Let me show you how I designed patterns for this dress and this top using my custom blocks. How to design a pattern for a fit and flare jersey dress where the top is a tighter fitted tank top and then the skirt is flaring from the waistline. I'm starting with my dartless bodice blocks that I use for jersey. I have different blocks for different stretch factors. For this specific dress, I'm using my 80% stretch factor blocks, which means that all my horizontal measurements have been reduced down to 80%. The first thing I do, I copy my blocks as they are to the new piece of paper. This is a summer dress. I want it to be more open. First of all, I will reduce the size of my shoulder, this much from the neckline and a little bit more from the armhole. So this is now my new shoulder. Next, I want my neckline to be a bit lower. Let's say something like this. I draw a new neckline. I want to drop down my armhole a little bit, let's say like this, and I connect it to my new shoulder. These blue lines are my new front pattern, but before I cut it out, I want to use it to redesign the back. So I go to the back and right away I can mark how much I'm lowering my armhole by, and then I go to the shoulder. I just copy my front shoulder. And now I can work with the back. I would love to drop down my neckline a little bit, and I want to make a kind of deeper cut armhole. So let's say till here, but sporty looking. There. And now I'm ready to cut out my patterns. First, I stitch my shoulders and then I measure the full length of my neckline after it's all stitched. And I take 20% roughly of it to make the trim. It depends on the fabric, of course. For 100% cotton, it's quite often about 20%. And then I do the same with the armhole. So I stitch the side seams and then I measure the full length of my new armhole. Top is ready. And I don't actually make pattern for the skirt. I just design it right on the fabric. I measure the length of my top. What's this waist measurement? This is in scale, but let's say for the sake of experiment, it's 15.5, let's say 15. Half of my waist is 15, which means that the full waist is 30. If I want to make the skirt with 3 panels like this, kind of A-line, 3 of them, each top needs to be 10. 3 times will come to 30. I just go to my fabric, I fold it like this. So this is now the fold, and this is the grain direction too. I decide on the length of my skirt. Let's say 15. If my entire waist here needs to be 10, yeah, in this case. But I'm folding my fabric in half, so this needs to be 5. So 5. And now I connected down to my widest possible point on the fabric. So I'm working with the width of the fabric. How much width can I possibly get? I can cut it out. See, this corner doesn't look nice. It should be like a right angle. So you can just take your fold, align it with your waistline and correct this line. Basically just going a little bit up until it hits the right angle. And that's it, that's my skirt is ready. And how you attach it is up to you. 3 panels, I usually have this one in the front. So I have 2 seams in the front and there'll be 1 seam on the back. You can swap it, that's up to you. You want to add a little stabilizing tape at the bottom of your bodice. You basically measure the length of your entire waistline and you cut a tape maybe 5 centimeters shorter and you stretch this tape evenly on the wrong side. Kind of add an extra layer of strength so that the heavy skirt is holding to more than just 1 layer of fabric. So yeah, from these basic blocks we designed a brand new dress pattern and you can put it together in a couple of hours easy. How to make a pattern for a long sleeve jersey top. I'm using my blocks without darts. For this particular long sleeve top, I'll be using my blocks with 40 centimeter ease. First, I copy my blocks as they are. And all I want to do here is decide how long I want my top to be. Let's say something like this. That's my length. What shape of the side seam do I want to have? I usually just do this. Front, back. What type of neckline do I want to have? I just keep it high up as it is. Same goes for the back. And the last part here is decide on what we're doing here with the hemline. I just lift it up over here a little bit. So the hem goes a little bit up. But that's really it. I cut it out and my pattern is done. And I don't want to have this type of sleeve. I want to have a more comfortable sports sleeve. I copy this block as it is first and I cut it out. And I want to draw a funny shape that kind of resembles a fringe, like a curve, this way. And somewhere in the middle, more or less, I also draw vertical lines this way. And now I will cut it from the armhole up the way, and then this little bit up. Same on the other side. I want to spread it open this way, a little bit up, and this way as well. okay, on each side. The easiest way to do that is to glue it. So the main body of the sleeve doesn't change. Only these bits parallel to this original line. I correct my seam on the back, the curve, and on the front. And now I cut this shape out. And then in this case, I can use my new sleeve block as my sleeve pattern. The only thing not included here is the trim. For the neckline, I usually just measure the length of my neckline after the shoulder seams are stitched and make the trim about 20% shorter. It depends on the fabric, whether or not you are using ribbing. The more you practice making this type of tops, the more experience you have, you will kind of know what length will work for this or that fabric. These custom blocks are the greatest secret of fashion design because every single garment starts from the block. Blocks can be different in the way they fit you. They can be tighter or they can be looser, and you can be in full control of how you want your clothes to fit you. Once you understand this core logic, designing and making clothes that fit you becomes surprisingly easy. If you're done with compromises and you want to have an entire wardrobe full of clothing that fits you and makes you feel good about yourself, then I invite you to check our online courses via the link below this video. And that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you next Friday.